Our beautiful author, BhasweLihle Zilwa. DJ, let's do the thing.
The Honorable Principal of ETHEMBENI Enrichment Center, Mrs. Mandimo, to the Honorable Deputy Principal of Kumbulani High School, Mr. S. Jika, to the Honorable Judges of my book competition today, the Honorable Principal of BhasweLihle High School, Mr. Tamsana Ngoki, the Honorable HOD and Featured Global Leaders Champion, Mrs. Sindula Tipina from Ebenezer High School, to Ms. Tasi Yosta from ETHEMBENI Enrichment School, Ms. Tuma Kakala from Kumbulani High School, to Mrs. Yoli Balafo from Penrose Capital, to all our resourceful educators here this morning, whom we highly appreciate. To my fellow learners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, I would like to sincerely thank our sponsors for the day. Mamyoli Balfour from Penrose Capital, thank you for your kindness. Thank you for loving my book and sponsoring learners to have a copy of it annually. Last year, you sponsored East London learners, and one of the learners you inspired with this book became a top student in Cluster B with 7 distinctions, including 100% in 2 subjects. We are now in Gqeberha because of your vision, and I truly and honestly appreciate you. Thank you to Mbumagapa TV for the generous sponsorship that enabled us to hold this competition today, without which we could all not be here. Thank you, Ms. Andiswa, for your generosity. My name is BhasweLihle Zilwa. I am 17 years old and I'm doing grade 12 at Bolu College. I passed grade 11 with distinction and academic full colors, and I'm prepared to work even harder in grade 12. I'm an author of Lihle's collection of motivational quotes for teens, and I am also the founder of the Future Global Leaders Club, a prestigious club of learners with an average of 70% and above. The purpose of a club is to motivate, inspire, and sharpen the excellence of the members, whilst rewarding them for consistent academic excellence. When I was young, I learned from my older sister, Uliza, how motivating quotes can be. She had them all around her study desk, and they really helped her, to motivate her to study day in and day out. And it paid off as she graduated as a medical doctor. So I also started collecting quotes of my own to motivate myself. And by the end of 2021, I collected more than 300 motivational and inspirational quotes. By April of 2022, my book was published when I was 14 years old, doing grade 9. And in 2023, it was translated and published into French and Kiswahili. When my book was finalized, I was inspired by the image that was used on page 93 and 94. And I came up with my very own quote. The first one says, "Just as trees can grow tall in rough terrain, we too can be whoever we wish to be, irrespective of our backgrounds or circumstances." As today's teenagers, there's no doubt that in South Africa, we are growing up in rough terrain. I say this because the social ills that surround us have led to the school dropout rate that is unexpectedly high. For any 100 learners starting school, only 50% make it to matric, and only 6% graduate in university. What is most shocking is that no one is doing anything about it. South Africa's unemployment rate is 32%, and this ranks us number 67 out of 67 countries in the Global Competitiveness Report that is published by the World Economic Forum. To crown it all, the international benchmarks reflect that out of 39 participating countries, South Africa's grade 9 learners ranked 38 out of 39 based on a maths test designed for grade 8s. Again, these grade 9s ranked 39 out of 39 countries when it comes to science proficiency. As a result, South Africa's NEET rate stands at more than 3 million youth. NEET standing for the not educated, not employed, and not trained youth. We are indeed in a rough terrain, and this is very sad. But the question is, what can we do about it as the teenagers of today? My book has a collection of more than 300 motivational and inspirational quotes from successful global icons. But what is most critical is my guide to navigating success that is found on page 10. My guide highlights 10 attributes that are needed for one to succeed and places them in order of importance. First of all, we need integrity. Arnold Hochschild says, "Winning is nice if we don't lose our integrity in the process." So when we're doing our assignments, writing our tests and exams, we need to win, or in this case, excel and do well and pass, knowing that we did this without cheating or cutting corners. With this firm foundation of integrity in our lives, we need to be ambitious. People succeed because they are ambitious, because they have dreams and goals. These goals become the wings that enable them to fly through the thickest of clouds, irrespective of their current circumstances. Usia Kolisi defied his circumstances of poverty and started dreaming about being the best rugby player in the world. In 2007, Usia watched the Rugby World Cup in a tavern as he didn't have a TV at home. He was not guaranteed 3 meals a day. He didn't have shoes, socks, his own bed. Sometimes he had to sleep on sweet water as his dinner. He lacked what we consider as basic necessities. All he had was a dream, an ambition to be the best rugby player in the world. This ambition created a sense of purpose. And it's no coincidence that South Africa has won the World Cup 2 times in a row, with Usia Kolisi being the captain. So to be ambitious is a key differentiator between success and failure. So let's start by dreaming about our final matric results, getting those 7 distinctions, or even making it to the top 1% of the country. In this way, we'll be giving our lives a sense of direction. Now, once we dream big, those big dreams and goals that we have will scare us. And we will need to have the courage to go after them anyway. Mark Twain says, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, but not absence of fear. So this means that even though we might feel scared, we shouldn't let that fear stop us from achieving our goals. We must always remember that Les Brown teaches us through one of his quotes that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. Hard work is a key towards the achievement of our goals. Summit Sony says, don't study until you get it right. Study until you can't get it wrong. And this can't be achieved without working very, very hard. Someone who really embodied this quote is Nthabiseng Lefobana. She was one of the top achievers of the class of 2023. In an interview, she said that she was studying on average 6 to 7 hours a day and increased that to 10 hours a day in preparation for the final exams. She did all the past papers she could find to the point where she finished all of the MSc Maths past papers and started doing the IEB past papers. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow learners, I'm sure you'll agree with me that she worked really hard. And this hard work paid off as she obtained 100% for maths and physical sciences, 99% for life orientation, life sciences, and geography, 92% for Isipedi as a home language, and 91% for English. Her story really makes us see firsthand that working hard is critical in the achievement of our goals. And this is really such an extraordinary achievement, and I really think we should give her a big round of applause. Our willingness to work hard will be confronted by a big challenge, which is lack of discipline. We have to be disciplined. Arden Malva says, discipline really means our ability to get ourselves to do things when we don't want to. So this means that whether we're tired, or we have a flu, or we just don't feel like studying at all, we need to get up and do it anyway. If we lack discipline, then our dreams and our success are at stake, because life is loaded with distractions that we can only overcome through discipline. Now, after we have achieved discipline, we need to be able to sacrifice. One of the quotes in my book by an unknown author says, if we don't sacrifice for what we want will become the sacrifice. This means that if we don't cut back on things that are unimportant and have nothing to do with our goals, then we'll be sacrificing the achievement of those goals. Then we will need perseverance, because there are many difficulties and hardships that we will deal with on our journey to success. Now, what does perseverance really mean? According to the Cambridge Dictionary, perseverance means the quality of being someone who continues to make an effort to achieve their aims, even when this is difficult or takes a long time. Simplified, others describe it as the ability to keep doing something difficult. Perseverance is endurance. Perseverance is persistence. Perseverance is determination, no matter how impossible it seems. So when we hit barriers to our success, we must remember Dennis DeYoung when he says, "Winners are losers who got up and gave it one more try." So for example, when we find a topic that is particularly challenging, we will spend countless hours doing very difficult questions, and we might even have moments of self-doubt. But if we are able to persevere, we will be able to push through until we succeed. My eighth attribute is image, because our image must always be in line with our ambitions. Les Brown says, "Dress like prospects and not like suspects." I take this seriously because double door opportunities are always open for prospects, and their doors are always shut for suspects. So our image, today and always, must continuously be reflective of our future as the global leaders of tomorrow. My other favorite quote that sums it all up is by Zig Ziglar, when he says, "You cannot climb the ladder of success with the costume of failure." I repeat, you cannot climb the ladder of success with a costume of failure. So let us therefore, fellow learners, double check if our costume and style is aligned to the ladder of success that we want to climb. Now, all these attributes put together would lead to success. And this is now when you would have achieved this goal that you've been working so very hard for. As Colin Powell says, there are no secrets to success. It is a result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. Mrs. Mary Vilagazi applied this formula for success. She was born and raised in the Alexandra Township in Joburg, and did her primary education at Kata Primary School and partly studied at East Bank High School. Today, she is the first Black female CEO of a banking group in South Africa. Mrs. Mary Vilagazi is the group CEO of First Rand, a group that generates an income of more than 87 billion rand per annum and employs more than 38,000 people. I think we really need to give her a big round of applause. So whenever you see an FNB bank, an FNB ATM, West Bank, you must know that the company is led by a Black person who grew up in Alex. She is a role model. As a result, I can guarantee you that the future CEO of the major banks in South Africa might be you. Yeah. I mean, why not? Last but not least, we have to be resilient. As success is not a straight line curve. We must never be discouraged by the failures or disappointments that we will encounter on our way to success. We must always be able to bounce back to where we want to be. Here's a true story of resilience that we can all learn from. In 2008, a grade 10 learner, Ole Tuaka, failed maths with 30%. But he didn't give up. He decided to fall in love with the subject, and he worked really hard. and his hard work paid off as he passed his grade 12 maths with 89%. After matriculating, he didn't know what to study. In 2011, he registered for a diploma in chemical engineering, but failed his first year modules and abandoned the program. But through resilience and applying the Japanese proverb that says, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Last year, Dr. Olo Tuwaka graduated his PhD in pure mathematics from the University of Cape Town.
Sure.
So, fellow learners, ladies and gentlemen, let us adopt this proverb in our day-to-day lives. This, ladies and gentlemen, sums up my guide to navigating success. Just as trees can grow tall in rough terrain, we too can be whoever we wish to be, irrespective of our backgrounds or circumstances. With this quote, fellow learners, this book will keep all of us inspired and intrinsically motivated to grow tall and be the best that we can be against any rough terrain that we find ourselves in. As we are preparing for our grade 12 exams, we must remember that our results will decide the direction of our lives for the rest of our lives. We must therefore apply all the attributes in my guide to navigating success. Let us approach this year with utmost integrity. Let us be ambitious. Let us have the courage to pursue the results we set ourselves, no matter how scary that goal is. Let's work hard, very, very hard. We must be disciplined. We must be ready to sacrifice anything that takes away our goal. It's going to be hard, but we need to be ready to persevere. Let us stick to our costume of success and keep in the lane of success. Let us be resilient, no matter how hard or how often we get knocked down. In my book, there is an anonymous quote that I would like to dedicate to all of us. So, may you please stand up as the class of 2025 and turn to page 97 of my book, the very, very last page, and let's read this quote together. It's all about success. Okay, it says, the road to success is not straight. It is a curve called failure, a loop called confusion, steep arms called friends, red lights called enemies, caution lights called family. You will have flat tires called jobs, but you have a spare called determination, an engine called perseverance, a driver called willpower. You will make it to a place called success. Thank you.